Yeah, I know. Don't mute the Wagner. Yeah, sorry. Here's the map. We're going to be flying starting just Raza Island will be to our right. We'll be heading toward chunk of the mainland there, and Stuart Island in the distance. And that is Church House just ahead of us, and Raza Island to our right. We're going to pass Hole in the Wall on the left just shortly. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to make a little video in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Unfortunately, I don't have my usual yoke set up on my desk at the moment because I'm busy flying a combat simulation these days. So I've got a joystick which is really hard to manage actually with this type of aircraft, and no trim wheel. So I'm just going to be fighting the aircraft a little bit. But I just want to make a short video. So memories, joining this group has brought back lots of memories, and I've oddly enough have had a lot of recent conversations about Big Bay history and Big Bay people. So it's kind of fun to do this. I'm Len Helmerson. I started guiding in 1980, did my training with Jim Hadley, with Chief and Roger Helland, and I'm sure there are a few others I should be remembering. Tor Jorgensen was around, Jack Barrett was around, Bill Miner, of course, was around. Martin over at, was it Sonora Lake Lodge or Dent Island? I can't remember, but was around. So, some of the crew that we had around there, obviously the Canerums, their usual joyful selves, bouncing around Big Bay and making sure everything was in order. So those were great times and great summers and great seasons, mostly, especially the early seasons. Later seasons, sometimes like, okay, are there still fish in the ocean? But you know how that went, and especially if you were around after 1985, you probably had that experience also. About 7 or 8 seasons for me up there. So flying the DHC-2, here we go, just kind of cruising around. So many stories from Big Bay days, stories of getting caught in whirlpools, stories of falling out the back of my boat when I had forgotten when the motor lock was broken, of course, and so you always had to be careful. And of course, some guest was always trying to create an interesting scenario by holding his tip near your motor to see just how much line the motor could actually gobble up in 2 or 3 seconds. It was actually a pretty significant amount, wasn't it? Yeah, memories of many good conversations and many good fishing trips on days off too, of course. I was thinking actually after looking at one of the pictures of one of the larger fish on the in the group here, something like, I can't remember how big it was, but it was big. I remember catching a 42-pounder at Spring Creek. I think it was near the end of my first year, and then in my second year having a fish on the line, having happened to look back just as my guest was panicking because something was tugging on his line really hard, trolling near Church House one evening, and seeing this pig with fins come flying out of the water. It was in the 40s. But what range that in the 40s, I don't know, of course, never having brought the thing into the dock to see it. But yeah, great times fishing. Many stories of catching eagles and losing fish to whales, and finding oneself trolling along on a quiet morning and suddenly surrounded by killer whales blowing and surfacing and eyeing my boat. Man, those were great days. I'm sure you have lots of your own stories if you're part of this group, or maybe you have a parent who is part of this group. I'm in my late 60s now, so it was a long time ago for me. So, kind of fun flying around Microsoft Flight Simulator. Been doing that a lot lately. Don't fly the Beaver as much as I used to. Seem to have found myself stuck in the Caravan and the Kodiak 100 a lot more. And also the big jets, of course. Really fun to fly in this particular simulator. So here we are coming up pretty fast now with Stuart Island on our right, and I guess that is Sonora Island. Yeah, sure, it's Sonora Island on the left. Coming up really fast to Big Bay. Mount Muley just off to the left, right. Can't quite see it. What I'm going to do is fly right past Big Bay out to toward the Heron Rapids, and then come back through the Yucatán Rapids, past Big Bay to the south end of Stuart Island, somewhere around Stuart Island Resort. Won't show on the map, won't show in the flight sim, of course, because nobody's added it. But there are other silly things that have been added, random buildings that shouldn't be there. It's a flight simulator, what can you say? And this is a fairly remote region, so not really well scanned. But we'll have some fun anyway. Big Bay on the right here, coming up really quickly now, with this little chunk of Sonora Island. And Gilded Island, is that what it is? Just off the end, off the tip of Sonora that we're going to cross here in a second? I think so. Some of you will remember Winston Price, one of the guides who started, I think, my second or third year and was there for, I think, 3 or 4 years. Had lunch with Winston here in Kelowna not that long ago, and he's doing well and still fishing and living up north and on the coast. Has a beautiful, I don't know, probably a 16-foot whaler with a steering wheel and the whole shebang. Loves to fish up there and does really well, of course, in that area. So here's Big Bay, and look at Mount Muley and look up Bute Inlet. I'm not going to fly as far as the log dump, but I am going to get out there to the near to the Erin Rapids and then turn around over. Is it Dent Island kind of area? I think it is. That I'll turn northwest there. One of my own fishing stories. I think it was about. I'm going to say it was in one of my last years, so 85 or 86. I heard there was. I found out what the world record was for coho on I think it was on 12-pound test line, or no, probably 10-pound test line. It was like 14 pounds or 14.5 pounds, I thought. And there was a big coho going through at the time, and I thought, oh man, on my day off, I'm going to be trolling in the Spring Creek area, log dump, and just see what I can find. And wouldn't you know it, I brought in a 16.5. So I had my 8-foot graphite rod with a bait casting reel, and I put 10-pound test line on there, went fishing, and yes, I brought in a 16.5-pound beautiful coho. After like 25 minutes, he was just all over the water and in and out, and oh man, it was just such a fun fight. Even if I had never brought home it hadn't been a trophy fish, it still would have been a great catch. So I got home to the dock and I was looking at the stats again, and it wasn't. It was, with 10-pound test, I think, was the limit, and I had put 12-pound test on my reel. I don't know if I ever verified or not. I didn't. I just thought that's it. I didn't get it. I just can't remember the details after that. But yeah, so but wow, it's a great catch, great fishing day. Nice view of Mount Muley here and the mainland, looking toward Bute Inlet there in the distance. Nice view of Big Bay. Somebody needs to make a Big Bay scenery. Any flight sim scenery designers out there? I can do the basics, but here's like a hotel collection over here. I'm pretty sure this isn't actually there. Some of you will know more than I will. I've been up there for 40 years. Gonna cruise around the top, or the bottom end, I guess technically, south end of Stuart Island here towards Stuart Island Resort. I don't think there are any buildings on this map either, but take a look. Now looking down toward Raza Island and Church House, and on the right, still Sonora Island, and what's that big one right after Morel? Wonder how many of you have been up to the lakes in some of these islands. I remember fishing up Frederick's Arm for trout one day. Lots of fun. So beautiful up there. Incredible. Florence Lake. A few nice afternoons up at Florence Lake, just lazing around on the sandy beach there. Looking toward, what was this area called? This area along the north end of Church House. Can't remember. I know we had a name for it. Went fishing there more than once. Bit of a long ride in a guide boat, unless you have a big motor. Turning now toward Bute Inlet and Stuart Island on the left. This is probably the cheapest beaver flight you've ever taken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I had to talk with my wife about getting back here. Probably not going to make it this summer. Tempting though, I know there's a little small gathering happening there of some friends, but I probably won't make it this time. Love to rent a boat and spend a few days in this area. May look familiar to you if you're familiar with this end of the island. I assume that clearing actually exists. It probably does. These images, data-based, LiDAR-based and all that, are satellite-based images from Google and Bing, are probably 3 or 4 years old, so don't know what it looked like when you last saw it. I must have been at Stuart Island Resort over the years, maybe once or twice every summer, picking somebody up, dropping somebody off, stopping at the store for something. Yeah, maybe once or twice a summer over the 7, 8 seasons I was up there. I assume it was probably exists somewhere right in this area, but without any buildings here, you'd have to know the geography pretty well to locate it by memory. Just about done. Hope you enjoyed this little cruise. Fun to make a short little video. In Kenmore colors, I might add. Had a talk with Greg Monroe 20 years ago about some Big Bay history. Haven't kept in touch. I know he's running Kenmore these days, but he must be in around 60. I mean, he must be close to 70. Wow. Hope they're doing well. That's about it for my tour, my airborne tour to Stuart Island. Whoever you are watching this, I hope you're doing well. Hope you have great memories from these days. And we'll see you next time. Till then, keep your tip up.